What's going on YouTube? It's Jason with JJ Drones, and we are back at home. I just got off the road not that long ago, and I've been coming down with a little bit of a cold, but that's not going to stop me. It's been a while since we've done some drone videos, and today's going to be a little bit of a different drone video than I typically do. We're going to go through and we're going to show all of the updates that came with the Mavic 3 Classic. It's actually an update that went through the entire Mavic 3 series, and I'm going to show you all of the updates, how they work. So let's get into this video. Okay, so I do have LAANC approval to do this flight, just in case you're curious, and I will have that in the description of the video below. But this is the Mavic 3 Classic, and I don't have a battery, so hang on, folks. Okay, I'm back, and this is going to be aircraft firmware update 1.00.05. So if you are not upgraded to that version of the aircraft firmware, you're not going to get all of these different features. Now, if you already have the Mavic 3 Classic or any of the variants of the Mavic 3, you're going to be just fine when it comes to with remote ID, because remote ID is integrated into the drone itself. Now, we are getting ready to take off, and I am going to actually turn on screen recording because you're not going to be able to see all of these features. Now, right now we're at 4 satellites, so we have 12 satellites. So we're going to go ahead and get this drone up in the air. Take off. I'll switch this over to video. Now, the other thing that I'm going to want to check while I'm flying this is how this works with the ND filters as well. So let's just do something super simple. We're going to go across the street to the park. Maybe. Okay. We're going to go across the street to the park. Okay. Now I've got an obstacle on the right hand side of me. I already know that because I'm looking at it, but all you have to do is swipe on the map, and now this is actually giving me that picture of the tree in front of us. Now if I hit the arrow to the right, you see I can see the not only the propeller, but I'm actually able to see the jungle gym next to it. Okay, so that's what the drone is seeing in its sensors. Now, it's in black and white. Let's see if we should be able to, yeah, we can get this in full screen now. So let's go over to the sensor on the left. That's what it can see on the left-hand side. And then the rear sensor, it's actually looking back at me. So let's go back. Now again, this is just video coming from the sensor. Okay, now we're going to go look forward. Sorry about that, guys. I don't have the good sticks on, so now it's going right towards that tree. Now I can actually move the gimbal, but you're not going to get the gimbal movement in that screen because that's not going with the gimbal, that's going with the camera, or the sensors on the front of the drone, I'm sorry. But you can see down in the lower left-hand corner that I've got the tree focused in the camera. So that is going to be something that is going to be helpful if you're actually nervous about the area that you're flying. Obviously, omnidirectional obstacle avoidance is great, but if you ever have a second thought, you can easily change the view. Now see where I'm at, I can actually see the tree. Now the other thing that it gave you was an AR home point. So if I pull up on the camera, you see where that H is on the screen? That's showing me where my home point is. Now let's do a little experiment, because I do have an ND16 filter on the camera. So I'm going to go back. A little ways. Now, I'm going to be very cautious because of the power lines here. But I'm going to hit the return to home, and with the return to home, you're supposed to get an AR path, how that drone is going to fly back to your location. So let's hit the return to home button right now.
Return to home.
Okay, so now we've got the AR path. It's showing me exactly where that drone is going to fly. And I wasn't nervous either, because I knew exactly how it was going to fly, the path it was going to take. Now it's going to give me a shadow where it's going to land. Okay, we're not going to land it there, so we're going to cancel. That's not even close to where it took off from, okay? That's partially my fault. See, this is where it's going to land, right on the tonneau cover. So we're going to hit down.
Landing.
And that's exactly where it landed. So we've got the AR return to home, we've got the shadow, the AR shadow when it's going to land, so you know exactly where that drone is going to put itself when it lands. And then you have the sensor cameras where you'll be able to see all around you when you're flying your drone. Now, as you can see also in the screen recording here, that it doesn't work while it is landed. It only works when you take off. So let's go back to the map. Now let's go ahead and take the drone off again, because I'm not a big fan of where it landed by itself, so we're going to put it 30 feet up in the air. We're going to give it a second. Okay, we're going to watch for cars, make sure there's nobody coming. Okay, we've got nobody coming. There's those dreaded power lines, so let's go up a little bit higher. All right, let's make this a little bit more difficult, okay, guys? We're gonna take this drone, we're gonna fly it out. And again, I'm at home, guys. I'm sure that you've seen a lot of these places in the past with some of my videos. And if you're new to the channel, I welcome you. We've gotten a lot of new subscribers to the channel, so I thank you for subscribing. And if you are unfamiliar, this is Quinnipiac, Michigan, a little town up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We're going to fly out to the highway. And yes, I can still see the drone, still in my line of sight. All right, so we are at the highway. This will take you all the way over to Iron Mountain. Off to this direction, that'll bring you over to Norway. And down below us are the railroad tracks, and the railroad tracks have not been in service for quite a while. So I am over the volunteer fire department currently, and there is our Brighton Township Town Hall. And as it's a beautiful place to actually film at night, especially with this drone, but that's not what we're here for. Okay, we've got the home point right there. You can see it. Now we can actually go and do a little orbit. Now I'm 175 feet up in the air. Now, if I am sitting here and I am curious as to what is around me, all I have to do is swipe on the map. Now, I'm going off to the side, and I can look on both sides of me, and there is nothing that I'm going to hit that I can see, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and safely do this orbit without any hesitation on what I'm doing. Now, I am 174 feet up in the air, so I mean, it shouldn't be a huge surprise, but depending on where you're flying, you may run into buildings or tall trees or tall power lines. Sorry guys, I can't talk. I'm still battling this cold. But this is my hometown. You can see in the background there is that blue section, not the water in the far background, but the blue section is a brand new basketball and pickleball courts. But I'm going to go ahead and change this back to the maps. Okay. Now we're going to do the return to home. Now, I highly suggest that if you are starting out flying drones, that you learn to take and get the drone back home by yourself. But if you don't, and you want to actually just use the autonomous feature that is used by DJI,
Return to home.
Look at that. Now, I can actually see where that drone is flying. I can still operate the gimbal. Now, as you see, it's going to fly over those power lines and drop down onto the bed of the truck, hopefully. It's coming over right now. And again, I have no fear that that drone is going to actually intersect with those power lines because I actually see where the drone is headed. Okay, so now the drone is actually coming down.
Landing.
Let's see where the home spot is. Now, there's a part of this where you can actually disable the ability, or your ability to have the drone land using the joysticks, all you have to do is switch it inside. Oh, it knew it was safe to land there. So apparently, if you want to still have the ability to have that drone land using the joystick on the controller, you have to go in and change that setting. But as for right now, the way that it's set up, it will actually land on its own. So you may have to be very careful with that. So make sure you go into the settings, and if you want to change that, you change that setting. But that's the updates for the 1.00.0 or what was it, 1.00.5, I think, something like that. It's in the description below. Okay guys, now it's your turn. It's your turn to sound off. Do you think that the updates that DJI did to this drone was helpful? Do you think that it was gimmicky? As far as my opinion goes, I actually think that it's extremely helpful, especially with the AR return to home, and then the little shadow, the AR shadow, when the drone is landing. So you know exactly where the drone is coming down, and you know exactly the path that the drone is taking when it comes back to its home location. Now, the first time that I put the drone up in the air, I didn't put it up in the air long enough for it to actually establish the home point where it took off from. So make sure that when you take off your Mavic 3 Classic or any of the Mavic 3s, that you put it up in the air about 30 feet and you let it sit there for a minute so it can establish the home point, because when we took off the second time, the drone actually went back to the point where it was supposed to. So I'd like to read your comments. Put those down in the description below, and if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time I put one of my videos up on YouTube. I think DJI did a great job with this update. I know that these sensors were cameras, and with the Mavic 2 Pro, you could actually go on and calibrate these sensors using a dot matrix type thing on a computer laptop. But they never actually put those sensors to use as far as what you could see on the screen. So DJI, I appreciate the update, and I think that it's fantastic. But I want to hear what you think. And I appreciate all of you for coming along for this ride with me, and we'll see you later on down the road. Bye guys.
A little crazy for you